You have raised your hand. So if there's anything that you wish to say, I guess you have to write in the chat box. Good evening. So Snehapriya ji, if you want to say something, please write in the chat box. I'll try to read. It's the messages are flashing so quickly that's difficult to even read. Thank you so much for your welcome. You're writing a warm welcome and you're wishing good afternoon. I too wish you a very good evening and a very good afternoon. And it's a pleasure to be with the members of Patliputra School Saudhya Complex. Um, I only wish that one day we will have an interaction where all of you can speak also. But nonetheless, we will interact through the chat box. हिंदी में बोलिए. अच्छा, हिंदी में भी बोल सकते हैं, but I am not sure whether we can do that. There may be non-Hindi speaking people as well. तो मैं हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों में बोलने की कोशिश करूंगी. तो आज का हमारा टॉपिक तो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, एंड दैट इज आर्ट एजुकेशन, आर्ट इंटीग्रेशन इन साइंस. So how many of you are science teachers here? Write in the chat box your subject that you teach. So let me have a sense of what all are you teaching. Biology, science, SST, math, okay, chemistry, science, Sanskrit, okay, Hindi, English, okay. There are teachers from all over, all the subjects. So the topic could have been art integration in education. So next time we can do another subject, because I've been training teachers in art integration in every subject: Hindi, English, social science, maths, science, everything. So, but today we are taking up art integration in science. So let me share my PowerPoint presentation and we can start. It is 4 o'clock. So the host can permit me to start. Can I start? Insha ji?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So here I share the PPT, and this box I can close so that you can have a good view. Now, art integration in science. Let me let me discuss this in detail, that what is really the meaning of art integration. First, you look at this picture. In this, you can see a woman. So, can you judge from the expressions on the face of the woman whether she is tired or she's unhappy, or is she very lively? What do you feel? Do you think she's tired and a little serious, or do you think that she's very, very happy and very energetic? Just write in the chat box. Do you think she's tired? Yes. So some of you are writing that you do feel that she doesn't look very exuberant. She looks very thoughtful and very nice. Somebody's written she looks tired and very thoughtful. That is the right word. She looks thoughtful. Now, can you guess why she has kept her hands like this in this position? All of you try to keep your hands like this and see that would you prefer to keep your hands like this? Everyone who's participating, just try keeping your hands the way she has kept. It's not very high on the chest, it's little lower. And do you think that in this position of hands, would you keep your hands? Would you naturally keep your hands in this position? Yes or no? When you're sitting and folding your hands, would you keep your hands in this position the way she is keeping? It's not high on the chest, it is not on the lap. Normally, when we keep our hands, when we are sitting, we keep our hands on the lap. But she's keeping it a little higher. So, can you think of a reason that why could possibly be the what could possibly be the reason why she's keeping her hands a little higher? Maybe deeply thinking, but even when we are deeply thinking, we wouldn't naturally keep our hands so high and a little away from the body and cross like this. Our natural position would be a little lower in the lap. Okay, painful, but pain of what? Why is her hand position this one, which is not a natural position? She's sad, she's holding. Do you think that she is carrying a baby? Is she pregnant? Do you think it is possible? Because why would you keep your hands at the first available space? She's holding a baby in her tummy. So that's a pregnant woman. And this is a very famous painting by Berthe Morisot. So what we have done is that we have appreciated this painting, but we have done it critically. We have critically appreciated this particular painting. And what has been our thought process? First, we have observed very minutely. We observed her facial expressions, and then we observed the position of her hands, and from there we analyzed. From the analysis, we thought that maybe she's tired and thoughtful, and maybe she's pregnant. And so these are the inferences that we have drawn because she's tired and thoughtful, and because of her special position of hands, the inference is that this is a portrait of a pregnant woman. So this is our thought process. And this was a critical art appreciation. But this had nothing really to do with science. It was only the thought process which was similar to science, isn't it? In science also, we have minute observation, we have analysis, we have inference making. Next, we go to a step higher than this. Now I'm going to show you two paintings, two pictures. Tell me whether the left one or the right one depicts cosmos. Write L for left and write R for the right position, right picture. Which one of them portray cosmos? Right. So, okay, you're writing the right one. Wonderful. So what is the feature of this particular picture on the right side which made you think that it is the picture depicting cosmos? there is some particular feature which made you suspect that the right hand picture is the one which depicts cosmos and not the left hand picture. Stars scattered, okay? What else? Which other feature makes you feel that the right picture is showing? Stars, galaxy, okay, this could be a galaxy, but how do you know that it is a galaxy? What about the shape of this galaxy that makes you feel? I think most of you are hearing the sound because you're responding to my questions. Oval or the spiral arms, wonderful, right? So you looked at the picture, you analyzed it, you saw the spiral arms, and then you made the inference that this is depicting a galaxy with the shining stars. All those bright spots are the stars, okay? Now look at this one. This is depiction of cosmos by Fujitsuka Shosei. He's a world famous artist. He has used bamboo to depict cosmos on this. So which feature of cosmos do you think he has picked up and put in this one so that we understand that he has depicted cosmos? Can you recognize a very specific signature feature of a galaxy? Spiral galaxy. Wonderful, the spirals. Now look at this, the same artist. Again, he is depicting cosmos. Now, can you tell me which feature of cosmos is he depicting? Is it still the spiral arms or is it something else? Has he picked up some other feature of the cosmos? If yes, infinite, wonderful. Cosmos is infinite. So that's how he is depicting cosmos. So you see, this artist has picked up different features of cosmos. One was the galaxies with their spiral arms and stars. Another feature is this one, the infinity. The spread of the cosmos is infinite. Now the same artist is doing this also. Now tell me which feature of the purse, this particular one, purse represents the cosmos. This particular purse, which feature in this represents cosmos? Can you identify? Something here is representing some feature of the cosmos, something which is present everywhere in the cosmos. What is that feature? No, this is not sign of infinite, not the path of the stars. We don't know that stars move in zigzag, this kind of fashion. Wave nature, wonderful. So there are waves, there are electromagnetic radiations, there are other kinds of waves. So this is the wave nature of radiation in the universe, which is present everywhere. That feature is taken up by Fujitsuka Shosei, and he's again depicting cosmos. And then we go forward and see this is Alicia Hunsicker. What is she doing? She is representing not only the wave nature, but also the particle nature. You can see these round things. These are maybe the planets or the other bodies. But what she's representing, that this cosmos is made up of matter as well as waves. And then we go forward and look at this one. Now this is a wonderful.
Highest paid entry level job in the world is not of product manager or software developer.
जल प्रवाह पावितस्थले कलेवलम्ब्य लम्बितां भुजङ्गपुङ्गमालिकान्तमड्डमड्डमड्डमन्निनादवड्डमर्वयं चकार चण्डताण्डवं तनोतु नः शिव शिवम्. जटाकटाह सम्भ्रम भ्रमन्निलिम्प निर्झरी विलोल वीचि वल्लरी विराजमान मूर्धनि ज्वलल्ललाट मट्टपावके किशोर चन्द्रशेखरे रति प्रतिक्षणं मम.
Yeah, so I just wanted to show you this dance feature, and now we'll go back. Hello, am I audible still? Am I audible? Okay, if I'm audible, I'll go back to my presentation. Just a minute. Just a minute. I think this has slipped up. I have to share this. Share. Then this is my, yeah, so I was talking about which feature of the cosmos does the Tandava represent? It is the destruction and then creation. So there is a theory about the cosmos that the cosmos is like an oscillating thing. It expands and then contracts, it gets constructed, it gets destroyed. So that is another feature of cosmos which has been represented over here. Then we go to the next slide. Now, what all this, we used all these slides, the sculpture, the bamboo art of Fujitsuka Shosei, and then Alicia Hansikler, and then the dance form to understand different features of the cosmos. So what we did, there was minute observation by each of the artists about the cosmos. Then we analyzed the creations by different artists, and then we made some inferences to learn more about the cosmos, right? Now, this was not just critical art appreciation. This was art enhanced learning because we used art to learn about cosmos. So this is called art enhanced learning of science. But art integration is still more than this. Now, what is art integration really? So for that, I'm giving you another example. Now, this is one competition that we did in Delhi NCR. The name was Stretch Your Imagination. What the children had to do? They had to research into the properties of a rubber band. Then they had to design and create an artwork or a poster which incorporates at least 3 rubber bands and conveys a social message. The message should be inspired by any physical property of rubber bands or related physics concepts. For example, transformation of energy or stretching of a rubber band, elasticity, or the property that when you heat the rubber band, it contracts. So children were supposed to research in the properties of rubber band and select one particular property and use that and to create or design an artwork or poster using at least 3 rubber bands and which conveys a social message. And the artwork should have a creative title to go with the theme and the message. Now, one of the entries which won the first prize is this one. It says about equality pull, and the entry showed one girl and one boy on 2 pans of a balance. Now the balance is not shown, but the person who's presenting has one hand this boy and in the other hand in the pan this girl, and then she says the girl is being pulled down by family, education, poverty, society. The boy is being pulled up by social status, physical strength, opportunities, and responsibilities. And then the message says, before we are men and women, we are people. Let us treat each other like it. Let us treat each other with respect. Now you see how it is more than just art integrated learning. It is integrating what? It is integrating science, that is the properties of rubber band, with art of poster making and also with language. So there is an amalgamation of the objectives of science. The objective of science that was that children should research in the properties of rubber band. But at the same time, there is an objective of the art of poster making, that the poster should be made very beautifully, so effectively. The message should be such that it strikes home, and there should be a wonderful title to go with it, which depicts the theme properly, efficiently, effectively. So this is what is art integrated learning, that it is addressing the objectives of both the science as well as the art form which is being utilized in that particular integration. So this is called art integrated learning. And in fact, art integration and science both have a common core. Now, what is at the common core? First is the minute observation or research. Now, you see, whenever we talk of science, whether physics, chemistry, or biology, we are always talking about minute observation. Same way, an artist also looks at the life around us, the society, the plantation, the scenery, everything very, very minutely. Then they analyze, just as we analyze the painting of the pregnant woman, or we analyze the art forms of bamboo art, or the paintings, or the dance form, and then we analyze it and then infer certain key features. In science, we say that this is the phenomena we analyzed, and we found these were the variables which are affecting this phenomena. The artist will say, in this scenario, these are the key features, like the spiral arms of the galaxy were the key features. Or in the painting of the woman, it was the facial expression and the fact that her hands were kept at some place to depict pregnancy. So these were the key features that artists analyzed and identified from a scenario after analysis. Then the artist selects some features to depict. I'm sure a pregnant woman would have many more features which artists could have shown. The artist could have shown the big stomach, but he didn't choose to do that. He chose very cleverly the position of hands to convey to the observer that the woman is pregnant. Same way, a scientist also sees many features in many variables in a happening, but he identifies or selects only those variables which he wants to study further. Then, just as an artist, after selection of features, conceptualizes the idea how he's going to depict the scenario, and then what does a scientist do? The scientist thinks of an experiment or design an experiment using those variables. And then artist goes to the next step of selecting suitable medium and material to present his art form. It could be bamboo, it could be colors of a painting, it could be a dance, it could be a song, it could be poetry. Same way, a scientist selects the equipments with which he will carry out the experiment. And then finally, the artist, after selection of suitable material and medium, designs the artwork. Whereas a scientist designs the process of the experiment so that there are minimum mistakes and effectively he can find the relationship between variables. And then they explore, just as an artist sees, okay, if I make this stroke, does it give the right expression? Or should I use not the watercolor, but oil colors will bring out the expression better? Or should I use this color or that color, which will make my scene realistic? Similarly, a scientist does a lot of experimentation with the equipment so that the errors are minimized, and finally they both arrive at a final creation. The artist arrives at the art form, and the scientist arrives at the final experiment and the final result, in which he has verified or negated the hypothesis with which he started. So you see, basically art integration and science have the same kind of thought process at the core. Art integration is not just for bringing interest in the subject, or it is not just for bringing colorfulness or just bringing playfulness. It is the thought process of art integration which is extremely, extremely useful for science, because critical thinking, analysis, evaluation, creation, these are the competencies which are developed by art integration and which are very much needed for development of science and technology. So this is something very important that I wanted to convey to you all. Now I will show you a lot of examples that are there from the world of art where science has been incorporated, and how you can take that art to the classroom to teach physics, chemistry, or biology, that you can see from here. So first, let me summarize that art integration is an approach to teaching in which students construct and demonstrate understanding through an art form, and students engage in a creative process which connects an art form and another subject and meets the evolving objectives in both. So this is what is art integration in education. And how do we do it? What is the process? First, pick the topic or idea that you want to teach. That can be the topic of your lesson. Then collaborate with art educators to align with the art objectives, because your lesson may have one particular scientific objective. But when you collaborate with the art educator, they will also have an objective of the art form with which you want to align your lesson. Then teach the topic, ensuring integrity and balance to both the subjects, and assess students' work in both areas, in science as well as the art form. So what this is depicting is, on one side, it is depicting the art form, and on the other side, it is depicting the science. And this is balanced. Both objectives of both should be balanced. That is when it is truly art integration. Now, going forward, first let me take up examples from physics. So now this is first example. This is a bookshelf which has been designed by Alice Lay. Now you see, with cardboard, she has made this outer frame, and then these are the shelves. And when you pick out a book, there is a paper thread, kind of paper strip, which pulls here the name and the writer of the book. It stands up here. So, for example, the artist has pulled out the book Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. So when she's pulled out the book frame, you can see here that this this poster depicting the name of the writer has stood up. So even though this is an art form, but what it is showing, you are applying the force here to take out the book, but the motion is being created here, because earlier this poster was lying flat at the head and now it has stood up. So this is a wonderful science model which shows the relation between force and motion. Now here we are playing with words. How we are playing with words? Let me see here. Now look at the word tunnel. See how there is a tunnel-like thing being created between two ends. So just by movement of the screen, the depth of tunnel by connecting two ends is being depicted. So this is the magic of physics. Another example is here. See here, this Ferris wheel is being, it's been created by Riley Wilson. Just by taking these stripes, transparent stripes forward, the Ferris wheel starts rotating. So nowadays our children are very digitally savvy. They can all create such things. So these are very beautiful things which can be created by your students. Now this is a girl called Lily Havish, and she is world famous artist who creates domino designs. Domino designs, they are remarkable.
Hi, my name is Lily Hevish.
Just
I'm a
have a
domino
look at
artist,
what she
and I
creates.
set up thousands of dominoes in intricate structures and patterns, and then I knock them down.
And you push one domino and the whole series starts falling. Now she makes it. Then see how it gets demolished. You push one domino and the whole structure, there is a motion and whole structure just gets destroyed. But see the energy.
I first got into doing dominoes
How
when I was
you
about 9
create
years old.
energy
My
at
grandparents
one place
had
by
the set
pushing
of
a domino, and how
because that's what dominoes are made to
some
do.
other motion starts happening. So she designing these structures with dominoes, and she is so an expensive an artist that she gets millions of dollars for creating these structures. Next, we go to another. Now, this is similar with ice cream sticks, it has been made. So just watch this.
Three, two, one.
Now watch it in slow motion. He picked out one ice cream stick and gradually it's spreading everywhere. Now there are a lot of videos available on the net where you can make two-dimensional structures with ice cream stick on the floor, which if you release from your hand in a series, it gets blown up. So this is potential energy stored in the ice cream sticks when you weave them together, and when you release one, that potential energy gets converted into kinetic energy of movement. So that is a beautiful way of describing the relationship between potential and kinetic energy. Now another art form is this shishi odoshi. This is a Japanese art form. How they are making some art form to scare away the deer which eat the plants. You see, with bamboo they have created this form. So the water is poured at the top and then coming down like this, to create bamboo pieces. It goes in this one, comes out from here, goes into this bamboo piece, and it makes this bamboo piece rotate. It makes it go up and down. See how beautiful the whole thing looks. Now you would say that what can we do in our classrooms with this? So you know what you can do? You can first drop a ball from a certain height. Once you enjoy this, then I'll tell you. So look at this beautiful form, right? So now what we can do is, we can take a ball and first drop the ball and show them. Let's say you drop the ball from a height of 2 meters. The ball comes down on the floor and strikes the floor very quickly. You can hardly even watch it. Now tell the children that you make some setup so that ball takes at least 1 minute to touch the ground. Now what they can do, you can give them these towel rings, toilet paper roll के अंदर cardboard की rings cylinders होते हैं. You can collect them and then they can stick them in different designs, zigzag fashion on the wall or a blackboard, and then push the ball, let us say here, inside this, and then zigzag, it will take some time and then only come down and strike the floor. So they will understand that how you can delay the process of striking of the ball with the floor, and in the process utilize these cardboard cylinders which are a waste, and yet create a beautiful art form on the wall. So that is how you can use it in your classrooms. Now going forward, just 1 second. So how we go forward? Now this is the art of Bruce Shapiro. You see, this white thing is white sand, and on white sand there are these steel balls, and these below this white sand container there are magnets, and those magnets are moved according to a pre-programmed machine. So when those magnets move, these iron balls or steel balls also move on the white sand, and they create such amazing beautiful patterns which continue to get erased, and new patterns keep getting created. So this machine is called Sisyphus machine. So they are XY coordinate devices using magnets and motorized arms to move metal balls precisely over a garden of sand. Computer programs control the patterns carved through the plate, creating stunning patterns, intricate loops, and swirls, all a meditative speed. Now, see more examples. This is in yellow sand, and you can see this ball here. And now I'll show you the video how it is being created. Now, this is in time lapse, 12 hours they're showing in a condensed form. You can see the steel balls moving. So this is in a museum and visitors get to see new patterns every few minutes. See how beautifully it is done. Now, how I did it in my class, I can tell you. I took a glass plate, and on the glass plate, I put suji and I put one ball bearing. And I gave the children magnets, which they had to put below the glass plate. And when they moved the magnet below the glass plate, that ball bearing over the suji also moved. And by moving the magnet from below the glass plate, they had to make intricate designs by moving the ball bearing over the suji. And believe me, children came out with wonderful designs. So these are the ideas which we can take to our classrooms in a more simple form. Okay, let us go forward. Now see, these are the blankets which are actually temperature records. How they are temperature records? Because every day if you read the temperature and you make such ranges, so supposing somewhere the temperature is between 89 degree to 96 degree Fahrenheit, then they would use this red color to weave here. Somewhere and the same place in some other week, if the temperature is between 73 degree and 80 degree Fahrenheit, then this color is being used in the blanket. So throughout the year, every day you can measure the average temperature. In fact, you can make the children read the daily temperature from the newspaper, confirm it by the thermometer in the lab, and that average temperature they can weave by knitting or by crocheting or by embroidery and make a year-long blanket. Or if you want to make it smaller, then you can do it weekly. You can take daily temperatures of a week, find an average of the week, and put one line for one week temperature average. So that's how you can have temperature records year after year and show this in your classroom or in your school. Then this is an idea from electricity. You can design a circuit in form of resistors. I call it mad resistor, and give this as an assignment to find out the resistance between point A and B, which is at the waist. So all these are in series and parallel. Then by using the waste resistances, because sometimes in electronics or in old models, there are a lot of components which are lying waste in the lab. So using that, you see, this was a resistor in gymnasium. He's doing not only a resistor, there are old ICs, resistances, these are capacitors, and this is an athlete doing yoga in the gymnasium. And this is resistors in concert. Not only resistors, again you have capacitors, LEDs, and this is again a capacitor. These are all resistors, and they're doing a concert. So this kind of art you can do. Then look at this room. What do you think, how this picture has been projected on the screen? Just give me a guess in the chat box. This is a room with table, chair, and things lying on the table. But look at the walls and the door. How the outside scenery has been projected on the wall. Can you guess? Can you guess in the chat box? One guess, everybody. Just tell me how it could have been depicted. Whatever is outside is being depicted on the wall. How could it be done? Multiple reflection. Actually, it is not reflection. This is pinhole camera. So what they have done is they have closed the windows, put black chart paper everywhere on all openings. See, under the door also they have put black paper, closed everything, and then in the window they made one small hole in the black chart paper. And from there, the outside scenery is depicted, this is projected on the wall. In your science exhibition, why don't you make one classroom like this? It is going to look amazing. Look at this hotel. This hotel is in US. This is the outside scenery which is being projected on the curtains in springtime. Now the same room you see in the winter time. This was springtime. This is winter time. And the tourists pay huge amount of money to enjoy these rooms. So this is one thing. Then you can do this. We did Tare Zami Par. What we did in a glass, we had these 5 mirrors, and then from here you throw the laser so that you can make a star. Now this star has not yet been completed. They have to position this laser at the right place so that this arm, this last arm of the star gets completed. But you can make it, it's very simple to do it. And then you look at this shadow. We think that a shadow of a ring is only going to be an oval or a line or a circle. But look at this heart-shaped shadow. How they made it. On the two sides of the book, a thick book, when you open, the book doesn't open flat, but the two sides are raised. And there, if you put the ring, the shadow is heart-shaped. Then look at this. This, again, how this exclamation mark looks like a question mark. So you can play with these simple, you can make the children play with these simple ideas in your classroom, and your science of shadows gets an expression as an art form. Now let me go to chemistry. Now in chemistry, look at this poetry on helium. Helium, revolt, there is no helium, yet he is pronounced an element. Top right king, the most noble gas. But if there was helium, how fine, wise, light she might be. So he of the helium, and they have used it very innovatively and talked of helium also. So this is one haiku from the periodic table. Haiku is a special form of Japanese poetry where there are to be 4 lines, sometimes 6 lines, but the last line should be mysterious or dramatic. So now you look at this. This is available on the internet. If you click on any element, a haiku appears over here. So if you see this 43 number, which is highlighted, that is technetium. So the haiku is technetium, unstable, short-lived, yet found within red giants, birthed in their bellies. You know, this element is born only in red giants because the temperature is huge, and that is why such elements with very high number of protons can be fused together to make high atomic number elements. So that you can do. Then you see, this is paper quilling. This is solanacol, a plant hormone, which has been, whose structure has been created by quilling. So your organic chemistry can be done very beautifully by quilling. Then you see, this is an artist, and this artist has wonderfully depicted the real toxin in the oceans. It is actually tetrodotoxin, which is a marine toxin, and John Rush is the artist. What he has done is that he has created this collage using only plastic, and he's asking that is it only the tetrodotoxin or the real toxin is these plastics which create this marine toxin. So how beautifully he has picked up the idea of plastic pollution and depicted it. Then these are the chem doodles. So these are different ions, and Annie is saying, I don't need your electrons. because these ones have donated the electrons and made these ones. But Ne doesn't want because it's a neutral atom. Then look at this chem decker. You see the test tube from the chemistry lab. They have been utilized as part of a decoration. Then look at this chemistry of water tumbler. The artist has designed a tumbler using the chemistry of water, this H2O sign. Then these are the lab rules which have been printed on the cups so children can remember the chemistry lab rules. So this is about chemistry. Now let us go to biology. And you see, these are the embroidered leaves. This Hilary Waters file so the angles in each leaves of these lines that are there, they are highlighted. Again, the same artist, see how beautifully she has created an assembly of leaves with beautiful embroidery. Then this is another artist, Jennifer Angus. In the Midnight Garden, all the insects are out, but she is making insects out of leaves. So when you make children study different kinds of leaves in your gardens, ask them to create such beautiful creatures. Now here are botanical sculptures by Kelly Pastorek. When we are teaching different species in biology, she creates with different kinds of papers real replicas of different botanical species. See how neatly and beautifully, but at the same time scientifically correctly, she has technically correct depiction of these species. Again, some more. This is again by Kelly Pastorek. So these are forget-me-not and these are apple blossoms. Now this is Beta Mierzwa. She is showing the cell division here in chromosomes. Another one is here, the final cut. So in the final step of cell division, the bridge connecting the cells is cut in a process called cytokinetic abscission and gives rise to two separate daughter cells. This hand-drawn illustration is overlaid with real microscopy images of a human cell with the blue DNA carrying the genetic information and the green microtubules giving shape to the cell, a combination that quite literally fuses science and art. So they're showing us scissors to cut it, but that's only a way of representing cell division. Then look at this embroidery by Leah Pass. She's showing the inner ear. Then you have face paresthesia. This is the lungs and they've named it as She Breathed. So then this is Andrea D'Souza. So she has embroidered the heart and the connected blood vessels here. And then this is a sea beach scene with bacterial strains. So these are real bacteria which have been grown in a petri dish in a special fashion. So these are all shining bacteria which are depicting the different areas of a scenery. This can be done in the labs. So that's all from my side. These are my contact details and my LinkedIn page and Facebook page. This is my mobile number and email. I hope that you can connect with me on any platform. And if there are any topics that you want me to take up, they can be taken up. So thank you so much. And now these 15 minutes are for question answer. I could have shown more, but I thought that it would be nice to have some question answers. So are they allowed to speak, Insha ma'am, or not really? Insha ma'am, are they allowed to speak? If you could have some questions, I'll be very happy to answer them. So if you don't have any questions, I may show you something more if you want. Okay, so I can show you more things. Let me just open the PPT. Okay, let me show you something more. Right, so I'll share again. So I want to show you how now, oh, this is not getting shown. There are dresses made from wine. This is the URL is disappeared. So let me show you how shoes are being made from molasses. Lot of content.
So as a fashion designer, I've always tended to think of materials something like this, or this, or maybe this. But then I met a biologist,
From the internet.
and now I think of materials like this.
Now what
Green
she's wearing
tea,
is
sugar,
made from
a
this.
few microbes, and a little thyme. I'm essentially using a kombucha recipe, which is a symbiotic mix of bacteria, yeasts, and other microorganisms which spin cellulose in a fermentation process.
Oh,
But then I met a biologist, and now I think of materials like this. Green tea, sugar, a few microbes, and a little thyme. I'm essentially using a kombucha recipe, which is a symbiotic mix of bacteria, yeasts, and other microorganisms which spin cellulose in a fermentation process. Over time, these tiny threads form in the liquid into layers and produce a mat on the surface. So we start by brewing the tea. I brew up to about 30 liters of tea at a time, and then while it's still hot, add a couple of kilos of sugar. We stir this in until it's completely dissolved, and then pour it into a growth bath. We need to check that the temperature has cooled to below 30 degrees C, and then we're ready to add the living organism. And along with that, some acetic acid. And once you get this process going, you can actually recycle your previous fermented liquid. We need to maintain an optimum temperature for the growth, and I use a heat mat to sit the bath on and a thermostat to regulate it. And actually, in hot weather, I can just grow it outside. So this is my mini fabric farm. After about 3 days, bubbles will appear on the surface of the liquid. So this is telling us that the fermentation is in full swing. And the bacteria are feeding on the sugar nutrients in the liquid. So they're spinning these tiny nanofibers of pure cellulose, and they're sticking together, forming layers, and giving us a sheet on the surface. After about 2 to 3 weeks, we're looking at something which is about 1 inch in thickness. So the bath on the left is after 5 days, and on the right, after 10. And this is a static culture. You don't have to do anything to it. You just literally watch it grow. It doesn't need light. When it's ready to harvest, you take it out of the bath, and you wash it in cold soapy water. At this point, it's really heavy. It's over 90% water, so we need to let that evaporate. So I spread it out onto a wooden sheet. Again, you can do that outside and just let it dry in the air. And as it's drying, it's compressing. So what you're left with, depending on the recipe, is something that's either like a really lightweight, transparent paper, or something which is much more like a flexible vegetable leather. And then you can either cut that out and sew it conventionally, or you can use the wet material to form it around a 3-dimensional shape. And as it evaporates, it will knit itself together, forming seams. So the color in this jacket is coming purely from green tea, I guess it also looks a little bit like human skin, which intrigues me. Since it's organic, I'm really keen to try and minimize the...
So what she is wearing is out of this material that she has grown from green tea and sugar only. So see how new things are happening. You can watch this video and on TED Talk, and then you can try it out yourself. Boy, this could be an experimental idea. So we are very fortunate to live in times of internet, because on internet you have everything available. Just you need to have an interest in art, and you need to be able to spend some time into researching every chapter. I have trained schools from class 6 to 8, chapter by chapter in every subject, and class 9, 10th also chapter by chapter every subject of NCERT books. So, and I'm a physics teacher basically. So it's not difficult for anyone to do it, because you just have to be interested in finding it out. You're asking me for resources. Well, there is no dearth of resources on the internet. You just have to keep searching with the keywords or your topics. Let's say cosmos and art, or dresses and art, or biology and art, chemistry and art, something like this. If you do, you get to see so much of material, and then you can choose out of that whatever is interesting to you. So that is my submission, that you don't look for any fixed resources, because it is your own creativity, your own interest that will bring interest in the subject. When we borrow other people's ideas, if we don't resonate with those ideas, we cannot present it beautifully in the class. So we have to be excited ourselves first about something, then only our class will find it interesting. So I suggest that you look into internet resources and choose whatever interests you, because then you will be able to depict it in such a fashion that your students will be mesmerized, and make them do new things. Once you give an idea to your students, they come out with amazing ideas, very different ideas. I'll tell you a story. You see, one year we had invited Dr. H.C. Verma for a science show. And my principal said that we want the Japanese ambassador to come as a chief guest. And we were wondering that if it's a Japanese ambassador, he wouldn't understand much of physics, what Professor Verma is going to discuss. So what can we do so that the Japanese ambassador connects with what we are going to do? So two of my students had gone to Japan for a scientific presentation. So we asked them that what all did you see there that interested you? And one of them said that, ma'am, we played a game called Super Bowl Sukui. So I said, what is that? So he told me that there were big tubs full of water in which they had floated those bouncy balls. छोटी छोटी bouncy balls आती है ना, तो वो उन्होंने float कर रखी थी hundreds. And then उन्होंने हमें एक scoop दिया. वो देखने में छलनी की तरह लगता था, चाय छानने की छलनी होती ना वैसा, बट उसमें चाय की छलनी की जगह पेपर लगा हुआ था. अब हम उसके हैंडल से पकड़ के पानी में डुबो के बॉल्स हमें निकालनी थी, और पेपर तो नेचुरली इट विल गेट वेट आफ्टर सम टाइम एंड इट विल ब्रेक. So before the paper broke, we could scoop out as many balls as we could from there. So I said, yeah, this is wonderful, but what are we going to do with this game? So then the children only came up with this idea that, ma'am, what we can do is, we can take चूड़ियाँ होती है ना, चूड़ी ले लेते हैं और उसके साथ हम जो प्लास्टिक की चम्मच होती है सस्ती वाली, उनका हैंडल जो है उसको हम वो कर देंगे, पेस्ट मतलब ग्लू कर देंगे उसको अच्छी तरह से, और उस जो हमारी चूड़ी है उस पर हम 2-3 तरह के पेपर लगा देंगे. एक A4 पेपर, एक ऐसा पेपर जो हमने ओवरनाइट ऑयल में डुबोया हुआ हो, और एक ऐसा पेपर जिसमें जो कि बटर पेपर हो, एक ऐसा पेपर जो फिल्टर पेपर लगा दें. तो हमने 4-5 तरह के स्कूप बना लिए. और स्टेज पे हमने वो टब रखा। अब स्टेज में हॉल, गेट से हॉल तक आने के लिए एक थोड़ा लंबा सा रास्ता चल के आना होता है हमारे स्कूल में। तो वहां पे हमने क्या किया कि ऐसे बड़े बड़े टब्स में ये बॉल्स, बाउंसी बॉल्स तैरा दी। और हमने A4 शीट से ऐसे बहुत सारे स्कूप्स बनवा लिए बच्चों से, करीब 200। और हमारे करीब 60 स्कूल से 300 लोग आने वाले थे प्रोग्राम्स के लिए। तो टीचर्स भी थे, बच्चे भी थे। तो जैसे वो गेट के अंदर आ रहे थे, हम सबको एक एक स्कूप दे देते थे, और वो उसमें से स्कूप कर करके बॉल्स निकाल निकाल के जितनी वो ले जा सकते थे वो उन्होंने ले ली, और लेके वो हॉल में गए। इससे ये फायदा हुआ कि दे हैड अ फर्स्ट हैंड एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ व्हाट द डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन वाज। अब जब वो सब हॉल में बैठ गए और जापानीज एम्बेसडर आ गए, तो हमने स्टेज पे वो बड़ा टब बॉल्स वाला रखा, और वो 4 तरह के बहुत सारे स्कूप रख दिए। फिर हमने ऑडियंस में से 4 वॉलंटियर्स को इनवाइट किया। उनमें से आई थिंक चारों ही टीचर्स आए थे स्टेज पर, बच्चों को नहीं बुलाया। स्टेज पर अलग अलग स्कूलों से टीचर्स आए। फिर हमने उनसे पूछा कि आपको कौन सा स्कूप चाहिए, तो जिसकी जो चॉइस थी उन्होंने वो स्कूप ले लिया। एंड बिफोर दे कुड यूज द स्कूप्स, हमने ऑडियंस से, बच्चों से पूछा कि अब आप बताओ कौन जीतेगा, इसमें से कौन सबसे ज्यादा बॉल स्कूप कर पाएगा। अब किसी ने कहा कि जो ऑर्डिनरी A4 पेपर वाला स्कूप है, किसी ने कहा जो ऑयल से ट्रीटेड है, किसी ने कहा बटर पेपर वाला है, अपने अपने हिसाब से। Then we asked these volunteers to play the game. And can you guess who won? Who got the maximum balls scooped out of the water? जो ऑयल ट्रीटेड वाला था, या ऑर्डिनरी A4 पेपर वाला था, या बटर पेपर वाला था, या फिल्टर पेपर वाला? आप मुझे चैट बॉक्स में बताइए, आपका क्या गेस है? आप बताइए, देखें आप क्या गेस करते हैं कि किससे सबसे ज्यादा बॉल स्कूप हुई होंगी बिफोर ब्रेकिंग? अब आप सब लिख रहे हैं। एक्चुअली इट वॉज द पेपर विच वॉज ट्रीटेड विद द ऑयल, क्योंकि पानी निकल गया था एंड ऑयल वॉज होल्डिंग द पेपर टुगेदर। सो द पर्सन विच टुक द ऑयल्ड पेपर scoop the maximum balls. And then we discuss this with the audience कि ऐसा क्यों हुआ। तो इस तरह से जापानीज एम्बेसडर ने भी इंजॉय किया, और हमारा फिजिक्स का डिस्कशन का पर्पस भी पूरा हो गया। सो दैट इज हाउ वी thoroughly enjoyed artistic physics session. Thank you so much. So hope you've enjoyed the session, and we will call it a day. Anything else if you want to ask, you can ask. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'll be leaving the session in a minute now. And I look forward to interacting you all in the next session on another topic. So if you have any topics in mind, you can write in the chat box. I'll note the topic. If there's any topic in which you want to hear something, then you can write in the chat box. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'll be leaving the session now. Thanks a lot.